across 95% of the reef due to a bleaching event. In early 2017, marine biologists found
deforestation is clearing Earth's forests on a massive scale, and at the current rate of destruction, the world's rainforests could completely disappear within 100 years.
That's the equivalent of taking more than 400 million cars off the road every year. And compared to wind and solar, nuclear requires significantly less land to generate the same amount of electricity.
Human activities, from pollution to overpopulation, are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us.
French President Emmanuel Macron posted an image of what was allegedly the Amazon forest fires on Twitter, and he called it an international crisis and urged the G7 to act. But the embarrassment in all this was that the photo turned out to be from a photographer who died nearly 20 years ago.
Over the past 100 years or so, these images really speak for themselves. Norway has seen dramatic reductions.
It's not until she hauls herself out of the water that I see what state she's in.
Tell me, are polar bears seriously in danger?
At the moment, no, they are not. In fact, polar bears are thriving. And this is something that is not really getting out to the community.
Ultimately, the greenness of travel is heavily dependent on context.
Meat production is a significant factor. Producing 1 kilo of beef generates 65 times more CO2 than producing 1 kilo of potatoes.
The more dependent we are on meat, milk, and eggs, the greater the CO2 and methane emissions.
Change weakens it, it starts to break apart. This creates a cycle because the less of the old ice there is.
Experts think the number is pretty small, perhaps just 1/10 of 1%, a tenth of a penny. But 1/10 of 1% from the sun can have a profound influence on Earth.
One cow's not a problem, but now we have 1.5 billion of them.
More heat is trapped in our atmosphere. Our planet is now warming because since the start of the Industrial Revolution, we've been putting more greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. And these are trapping more and more heat.
Methane is something like 22 times more potent as a climate-changing gas than is CO2. So it doesn't take very much methane to make a difference.
It's now September, and Arctic sea ice extent is approaching its low point of the year. After months of media hype, it now seems unlikely that the record-breaking low of 2012 will be exceeded.
It's already right here. Look how far above the natural cycle this is, and we've done that.
The ice sheet there has melted so much that the outer crust of the Earth is now visible from above. Not only is it visible, it's actually rising.
When some of these children who are here are my age, here's what it's going to be in less than 50 years. You've heard of off the charts. Within less than 50 years, it'll be here.
The guy that created the hockey stick, when I gave a presentation in Winnipeg and showed the public how he created it, and afterwards I was asked by an interviewer, well, what's the problem? And I said, he's refusing to tell the world how he created the hockey stick. In other words, he won't allow science to reproduce his results, which is the most basic test in science. And yet the world has been fooled by this hockey stick.
The Green New Deal is about, while we have this chance, Why don't we think about that proactively to change it in the ways that people have been calling for it to be changed for generations at this point?
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
On the same day that 16-year-old Greta Thunberg delivered her impassioned speech to the UN on her claim that there's a climate emergency, a group of 500 qualified scientists and commentators sent the UN Secretary General this registered letter, making it clear that there is no climate emergency.
She seems like a very happy young girl, looking forward to a bright and wonderful future. So nice to see.